Okay, I have a thought and a way of putting it that, in my opinion, prove that life is just a dream, just like any other dream. And I have drawn a diagram to easily explain what it is that I'm talking about exactly. Uh, but to say right off the bat, here's pretty much what I think. Life is just a dream, and nothing is actually fake. Uh, Even a hallucination that you would normally consider isn't real. Even if something completely isn't real, it's still just as real as any other point in your life. And what I am basing this on, what my basis of this thought is on, is that everything that ever happens for you, no matter if it's in the present now, in a dream, in another dimension, uh, tripping too hard on Dramamine and seeing things that completely aren't there, any of that, um, all of it just winds up being a memory later on, much later on down the road. That's all life ever is. The only thing you actually can have of the past, which doesn't really exist anyways, but the only thing you ever really have is your memories. And since your memories aren't really any like more hard there, they're not there any more like ingrained in your mind than any other memory. And there's no limitation to which memories you can have in your mind, nor do you have any control over it, what comes to mind. Um, the idea of having complete control of what comes to mind first seems seems a bit crazy. It it almost seems like that's the way things would be if before I came into this existence. That's what I would think the way things would be, is that you could choose what comes to your mind, and but the mind is like an out of control runaway freight train into a dark and stormy night. The out of controlness of it is really what makes it a dream. Um, you always have just as much control over your life as you do in dreams in this world. Um, so later on down the future, when you're old and dying, I believe that your whole entire life will, in the end, be nothing but memories, um, which will be soon forgotten in the next passing, in the afterlife, which I'll explain too. But this diagram here, it's a rough diagram, but it shows what I'm talking about. The time passing. Now, I take it that you know what a time bar looks like on a passing um, grid in a music program like Acid Pro or Reason or any program, where it shows a bar moving by, and it shows what the bar has moved over and what has been done in the past, and what the bar is moving closer and further into novelty, which is the future, which is already there. Uh, let's say that that's time passing for you, which is a very good representation of it. And except in this case, you don't know what's in the future. You don't know what's there for you. You just know that something is there. Um, so let's say this is the world we're in now. This is the dimension we're in now. When we fall asleep, this is time passing in your mind. time is just in your mind. It's a man-made thing. It isn't actually real. Uh, the present is really all that there ever is. The only thing that makes it seem like there's a time, a passing, is because we've created a way to carry ourselves uh, to carry ourselves into the present moment. Um, so everybody, we have birthdays, we have years and days, we have measurements for every passing of time. Um, but anyways, this is the passing of time, and then when you fall asleep, this is when you start dreaming, and when you're dreaming, you're on a different time scale, a different time passing. So you're, and then all of this stuff can happen. Uh, in let's say that from here to here is only 5 hours of your real time in this dimension, and then in this 5 hours, you go into a different passing of time, and then say in your dream you have another dream. The furthest I can remember is I can remember having a dream within a dream within a dream. I've woken up and I'm still asleep, and then in that dream I woke up and I was still asleep, but I remember remembering that what I had happen in the third dream down. I remember remembering that in the second dream, and then when I woke up, I could only remember remembering uh, that I knew the content, but I couldn't remember what the content was of the innermost dream uh, when I was completely awake. But I could remember the content of the second dream down. So let's say and the reason there's all these markers here, that's to indicate all separate dreams. This, of course, this uh, bar, the one of the present, there'd be one for every dream, every night, or every time you dream in your life. So you can imagine how many of these there would be uh, in just this dream, this life. And then, of course, in a short time in this dream, you have another dream, and let's say this is the equivalent of the same present as here, the present moment feeling, which always is. So let's say this is also 20 minutes, and then so on and so on, and then you have a dream, or you wake up from a dream here, and then you're somewhere on this spiral. Uh, so then it just goes on and on into infinity. So just in one dream, if you were to look in to the information in that dream, I think that you'd find that there's an entire lifetime. There's way more than an entire lifetime, than just one life packed in there. There's an infinite number of events and time, and I do believe that every time you fall asleep, you have an infinite number of you have live an entire life, but you just can't remember it. The mind fails to remember. Even I don't think the mind even remembers 10% of everything that you've ever done just in this world, excluding dreams. And I think that it does that for a very important reason to your mental psychological health. And that is this: if you could remember everything you have ever done throughout the passing of all eternity, could you imagine how boring and depressing everything you could think of would be if you knew that you've already done everything imaginable an infinite number of times? I don't think even jumping off of a building, 100-story building, and landing on the ground, and then waking up after that would even seem exciting to you, because I mean that's something that I believe. I believe that as an eternal being, I have done everything imaginable over the history of the present. Um, so yeah, I think the mind forgetting the past is for your own good. It's a good thing not to remember everything. Now, when this dream comes to an end, though, this is what I believe, and I base my beliefs on hard evidence, not faith. Like most religions have no hard evidence whatsoever, but they have like just a basis of faith. You have to have faith in God, faith in faith, all that shit. Why I believe that when you die, you go to this place of blackness. Your mind and your thoughts live on, but you don't have a body. Uh, you don't have your five senses. Really, all this world is the way you see it. The way your five senses are adapted to it. Um, but really, that's all it is. Nothing is any particular way, because everything to everybody is every. Nothing is in any one particular way, because everything is every particular way. Meaning, everybody has their own interpretation of what this is. Therefore, nothing is any solid way, because everybody sees it differently. Um, but anyways, when you go to sleep and you dream at night, every time before the occurrence, you have to close your eyes and go to blackness. And then in this blackness, where you have no sense of body or location, you can then transfer from your body here to another dimension, where you also have a happening, where you're also in a different situation. You can even dream about being other creatures, and I've had a dream that I was one of the Ninja Turtles. And then all that goes on. But when you wake up from the dream, you can't walk up to somebody that you knew in real life in that dream and reminisce with them about what you did in the dream. That's when you realize that everything there was all your mind, um, and you can never go back to that again. And then when your mind forgets about it, it's as if it really never happened, because it's completely gone. That's because all that ever resides from the past is your memory. So when you forget it, the past is gone. Which is, no biggie. It's just an eternal moment. Um, so that it always seems like a fresh and exciting new experience. But because of this blackness when you dream, I believe that when you die, it'll be just like waking up from a dream. Um, and somewhere in that world, uh, it will be suddenly familiar. Oh yeah, this is where I really exist. And then pretty much, probably not very long after being in that world, all of this dream, and the dreams within the dreams, and the dreams within the dreams, and so on, will be forgotten. But that doesn't matter, because that's already happened an infinite number of times. Um, but, so yeah, dying will be, in my belief, no big deal, because it's something that it's just not. Dying is just another word for waking up, losing, ending this segment of dreaming, and transferring into another. Uh, so never can I remember the blackness uh, before existence, but the long blackness where I don't have a body anywhere. Um, I have to dream one, uh, and that could be scary right when I get there, right when I lose my body, and it seems like it might be eternal darkness. But then, of course, you can never remember that because since there's nothing there, and the consciousness, your mind just has to create another world for you, which it has no problem doing. Um, so, in my belief, we are all literally the same person. Everyone else is my subconscious, and I am everyone else's subconscious. And when this is over, after death occurs, when all this is over, it'll be just like any other time. Won't be able to reminisce with anybody else, any of the other conscious beings in the next dimension up, because this will all have been in my head. Uh, so I don't think there can ever be a true, like what the Bible claims to be a permanent, like heaven or hell where you burn forever in all eternity. I don't think there can actually be anything that is eternal, like one thing that's eternal to always be in the same dimension forever. Because if that were possible, I would already be doing it. I would already be in hell. Uh, because I've been around eternally. It's not like if that were possible, I wouldn't already be in hell. Um, so yeah, that's my beliefs. That's pretty much my philosophy. I just wanted to share that.